The third and final step in Module 4 is called Maintain Your Momentum. And as for Showcase Your Skills, this is another way in which you can create opportunities to deliver more units of value. Now, you don't want the interview to stagnate in any way. You don't want to lose their interest. You don't want there to be an energy drop. And one way that you can avoid this happening is to keep the interview conversation moving forward and to develop a future orientation. Let me explain what I mean. Interviewers are interested in your past because they want to understand your experience, and your history is something of a predictor for them. But in reality, they are much more interested in what you can do for them in the future. So the main idea here is that if you're conscious about the flow of the conversation and the ground you've covered already, then at the right time, you get them talking about the challenges that they face and the things that excite them. And this will give you the opportunity to explain how you can fit within that picture. Let me give you a few practical tips for this. The first one is seek relevance. By that I mean when they're asking you about your history, look to make explicit linkages between things you've done in the past that are highly relevant for them going forward. These can be very direct, like industry relationships that you have, or they can be more subtle, like an ability to deal with certain types of people. But either way, look to make those connections between your story and their future. It shows that you understand their needs, and it adds something to the units of value that you're delivering. Second, don't be afraid to express opinions or insights, or to ask them a question. If you've done your work well back in Build Your Foundation, then you'll have the knowledge to do that. And the smallest addition can sometimes stimulate a more even dialogue. So rather than a question and answer session, you make the conversation more like joint problem solving about their future, and you get them into areas that they find exciting and consequently more enjoyable. The third and final idea regarding maintenance of momentum and management of the energy in the meeting is to be sure to maintain your own focus and concentration. This can sound very straightforward, but particularly if you go to a company where you do a sequence of interviews over a long day, you need to think about fatigue and distraction control. It's easy to get bored listening to yourself at the end of a long day, and then you ruin a lot of hard work with a last meeting that's a bit shabby. The best way to avoid this is just to be aware that it can happen, and don't let your guard down to the very end of the last interview. Listen with intent, look for openings, and get them into territory that keeps them engaged.